Hello everyone, welcome to Good Grilling with Grill Groburn. I'm your host, Grill Groburn. It's a special 4th of July Grill Groburn episode. Happy birthday, America. I'm wearing one of my American Heroes t-shirts. Tell you a little bit more story about that in just a moment. Meanwhile, Gracie, keep cleaning that grill, get the coals lit, and listen to the Live Aid 1985 concert. So almost 38 years ago today, I believe it was around July 17th, 1985, when the second greatest compilation of artists joined together since Woodstock. So we're going to do some traditional pork spare ribs today and a pretty cool side dish. So coming right up, stay tuned. All right, everyone, so here's my rack of pork spare ribs. You can see that I've got a butter knife sticking inside of the rib side here. This is a thin membrane that you want to remove before you throw them on the grill. Mainly because the meat's not going to get as tender if you leave that membrane on there. And then we're going to apply some rub to it. Some people recommend some mustard as a binder. I don't find that I need that. And the other piece of advice here is that once we do remove the membrane and we throw them on the grill, we want to put them this side down, bone side down, for a better cook. All right, guys, stay tuned. Hey guys, just a little kind of a trick to do with your corn here, because I'm going to use corn in my side dish. And what I've done is, as you can see, is I've just thrown it on a wire grate on top of my chimney that's almost ready to go with the coals. And as you can see, I've got it charring and getting that smoke flavor on there. What I'm going to do in just a few minutes is wrap that piece of corn up, that ear of corn up in some foil, and pour just a little bit of IPA on there, wrap it up in a little tinfoil IPA bath, and throw it on the smoker with my ribs. All right, so the rub that I'm using is one of my favorites from Waxahachie, Texas. My boys down there between Dallas and Fort Worth. This is the Holy Gospel barbecue rub. They make a lot of different blends, but this is my favorite for the ribs. And you also note that I had some shears on the table and I sliced them in half, just a better fit for this Oklahoma Joe drum smoker. So I'm gonna leave these on there. We're gonna shoot for around 225 to 250 for about an hour and a half for phase 1 of the smoke. All right, everyone, just a little backstory about the shirt that I'm wearing today on the 4th of July, Pat's Run. Pat's Run was started after the death of Pat Tillman, who was definitely an American hero. He was a linebacker at Arizona State University, and he became an NFL player after his college career, stayed in Arizona, played for the Cardinals. And we're looking at the Tillman website. So Pat Tillman, after playing for the Cardinals for a year or two, 9/11 happened in 2001, and he felt the need to go serve along with one of his brothers, Kevin. They joined the Army in 2002, served in Iraq and Afghanistan, lost his life in tragic circumstances in Afghanistan. Don't want to focus on that. But after his death, he left millions of dollars of NFL money on the table. He was actually offered a contract with the, I want to say it was the Los Angeles Rams at the time, before he enlisted in the Army, and he turned it down. It was more money, but he turned it down to stay loyal to the team that had drafted him in his home of Arizona. So in any event, Pat's Run is just one of the many things that the Tillman Foundation does. It's every spring. I've had the pleasure of participating in 4 of those runs down in Texas. They host them across the country. Plan on going hopefully next spring to Tempe, Arizona, the biggest one there at Arizona State. It's a 4.2 mile run, and the one at ASU, the finish line, you run through the campus and the streets of Tempe, Arizona, and the finish line is at the 42-yard line of the football field, which is pretty solid. So, American hero, Pat Tillman, as Eleanor Roosevelt said, with great freedom comes responsibility, and definitely very thankful for the freedom. And thankful for not only people like Pat Tillman, but the people that set up foundations like this that have helped hundreds of people. So learn more about Pat Tillman if you want to at pattillmanfoundation.org. There's also a really good Football Life on ESPN Plus, Football Life, if you want to look for that. All right, enough said. Let's get back to the cook. All right, everyone. So we're 90 minutes into the smoke. I mentioned I would check back after phase one. So phase one was over indirect heat for about 90 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is just wrap these half slabs up in some foil. And at this point, a lot of the moisture has kind of come to the surface of the meat. So I'm just going to spritz them with a little bourbon before I wrap them up. This is actually some Woodford Reserve. And I'm going to remove that heat deflector down there. And at this point, I've got probably all the smoky flavor that I want, so I'm not worried about smoking them anymore. I'm just worried about getting them to temperature. And the reason why that I'm putting this bourbon in there, obviously to add a little bit of flavor, but moisture as well. And so hopefully these bad boys will turn out really tender, and you can just pull that meat off the bone. That's the ideal here. So I'll check in at phase 3 coming up. All right, everyone, phase 3, stage 3 of the smoke. So I've taken the ribs off of the direct heat. One way you know that meat is getting moist is you see more and more exposure of the bone. So feel free to insert your own joke there. All that's left for stage 3 of 3 is I'm going to apply some sauce. Of course, with ribs, I'm going to use my favorite Calhoun's barbecue sauce. Slather those up, put them on this direct heat for maybe 20 to 30 minutes max. What's going to happen is it's all a matter of preference, but there's a lot of sugar in that barbecue sauce, and I like a lot of kind of dark bark on my brisket, but not on my ribs. So another 20-30 minutes, and then I'll show you the finished product along with the side dish and of course the cocktail coming up. All right, everyone, so stage 3, 30 minutes, I believe we're probably going to be good to go. And full disclosure, I had to keep them in the foil there between stage 2 and 3. Well, obviously I opened it up, but here's the reason why I kept them in that foil. Because those babies are super tender. And I was afraid I was going to lose some of that meat in the grill. Right, there's the flop test. It should have been like that. See that bone falling out of there? We're good to go, guys. So the only thing left to do is to listen to some Van Halen. Thought this was appropriate as the best American rock band of all time. Oh yeah, what's he drinking? And what's the side? Okay. Well, what I'm drinking, first of all, kind of a chick drink, but you know, my chick may show up here in a little bit, or I might just blow up my imaginary girlfriend's. Well, enough said on that. Inflatable. It's a little Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry. Never had it before. Probably never will again. I'm gonna mix it with a little Red Bull Summer Edition. And then remember I was smoking that corn earlier, or at least charring it. And I decided that really, I was probably cutting off the husk on it. And I had a little nibble, and that corn did not need to drink in the sleeping bag with IPA. It was ready to go. So definitely recommend doing that. That's the first time I've tried to do that. But, you know, if you're fixing corn on the cob for a number of people, you know, you're just gonna have to do that over the open flame. But anyway, it doesn't take very long. Mixed it in with some coleslaw, some pico de gallo. That's diced up tomatoes, onions, cilantro, jalapenos, a little bit of lime juice, and some avocado, and a little bit of mayo. we're good to go, guys. So thanks for hanging in there. If you have to this point, happy 4th of July. You know, the middle part of this video highlighted Pat Tillman, great American and linebacker, at least at ASU. Shout out to the best linebacker I ever had the pleasure to and privilege to play with, Jeffrey Boyd, who died on this day in 1989. Miss you, brother. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Cheers.